Hello, this video is intended to be a quick tutorial on rolling fund balances within Visions. This process is often our final step in closing out the fiscal year. Before rolling fund balances, it is important to review a few quick reminders about when it is appropriate to roll them. First and foremost, ensure the district cash is reconciled to the county superintendent and/or the treasurer. Likely at this point, the AFR has been approved by the board, but if not, hold off rolling the fund balances until the board has approved the AFR. Certain cash funds, such as our student activities, auxiliary, tax credit, maybe gifts and donations, may have preliminary fund balances already rolled. However, it's important to verify if these fund balances need to be adjusted now that the fiscal year has been closed out. And don't double roll any of these previous fund balances. So if you have previously rolled auxiliary or tax credit or gifts and donations, you want to make sure you don't double roll these fund balances. So let's talk a little bit about some pre-work that will need to be done prior to actually running the rollover utility. I'm going to review how to check each of these steps. So first, we're going to verify the fund balance offset in the year in which we are going to roll our fund balances to is correct. In other words, you're going to verify this in the current fiscal year in which we're operating. This is found under the General Ledger Configuration Account Offsets. Scroll down to the fund balance offset, and you're going to want to ensure that you have the 3 question marks in the fund element. This is going to ensure that each fund receives a fund balance. You want to see zeros in each of the other elements except for the object. Your object code will either be 0300 or 0330. Ensuring that you have zeros in all the other fields will ensure that you only have one account code or one line item for your fund balance rollover. Next, we're going to print the fund balance from the year in which we're rolling the fund balances from. So this is considered your old year. So the year in which we just closed out, we want to print our fund balance report. And we want to be able to review this fund balance report to identify if there are any funds that we may not want to roll over into the new year. This is the opportunity to clean up your fund balance report and eliminate any funds from prior years that you don't want to continue to see on the fund balance report. So in this case, you can see I've identified from some 2017 funds that are no longer going to be used in the 2019 year. So I want to eliminate those because they have a 0 cash balance. So I don't want to roll over that fund balance. If we were to roll these fund balances, even with a $0 amount, once they're rolled over with a transaction entered against them, again, even if it's 0, we can't eliminate them from the report in new years. So how do we actually eliminate these so they don't roll over? The first step is to delete and inactivate these old funds. So how we do this is we go into the new year, so again, the year in which we're rolling the fund balance to, and we're going to delete these account codes. Now a reminder, you will not lose any old records. By deleting them in this connection group, we're only deleting them from this connection group. We can always go back to prior fiscal years and review all of the transaction level detail. So to delete, we're going to navigate to the chart of accounts. So as a reminder, this is under General Ledger, Chart of Accounts, Account Code Input. We're going to enter the fund in which we want to delete and apply selection. This will then populate the grid with all of the account codes that are assigned to that particular fund. So in this case, I'm wanting to delete Fund 117 because that was the 2017 Title I fund. Once you've selected them all by clicking on the first row and scrolling down with the Shift key and clicking on the last row, you're going to right mouse click and click the Delete key. Now this is the time that you have to be patient because if you have a lot of records, and a lot of records are typically 50 to 60, upwards of 100, if not more, the system's going to take a few minutes to respond. So don't get impatient and try to close out. Just allow the system to respond once you've clicked delete. Now you might get a few error messages of account codes that won't allow you to delete. you might get a record indicator saying that the account code is currently used within a budget column. If that's the case, then within the current year, in the new year in which you're in, you need to go and clear that account code from any budget columns. Another error message you might receive indicates that the account code is currently used in a transaction. So if there's an actual transaction that's been posted, you will not be able to delete the code. If the account code is used on a position line, however, nothing's been paid, then we will be able to go into the position record and simply delete that code. This often happens with our grants because we roll over our positions and update the new account code, but don't delete the old account code. So this may take you a couple of steps going in and out to make sure that the account codes are deleted. Once you've deleted the fund in which you're looking at, in this case 117, you'll want to repopulate the grid to ensure that all of those account codes have been deleted. Once they've been deleted, then we want to go over to account elements and delete the fund from the account elements. And this is a very simple process. You will navigate to the account elements by going through the general ledger, chart of accounts, and account element. And here we're going to just pick the single fund, Fund 117, and delete it from the grid. We're going to continue to do this for each of the account codes in which we've identified that we do not want to carry over into the following fiscal year. So this may take you a little while if you have a lot of account codes in the old year that you want to eliminate. Remember, you're going to only delete them in the year in which you're rolling the fund balances to. So now, once you've gone through that process and you've cleaned up your chart of accounts, we can actually now start the rollover utility. This is performed in the year in which we're closing out. So consider this your old year, the year in which you just finished your AFR. You'll find this utility by scrolling through, going through your general ledger, utilities, and process fiscal year rollover. Once you get to this screen, you're going to want to click Actions and select the action item that says Export Fund Balances. And you'll see here that you've already done some of your rollover utilities. Remember when we rolled over our general ledger back in the spring? If you have a warehouse, you've already rolled over your warehouse. You've likely already exported your leave balances. So there are many items that have already been done. So this is usually the final step when we're going to be rolling over our fund balances. Once you click the actions item and say Export Fund Balances, you're going to want to select the fund numbers, only those which have a cash balance. So this is where you're going to see the grid and you're going to check off the funds that you actually want to roll over. Now you might get a little confused because you're going to see those funds. For example, you see Fund 117 that we already deleted still here on the grid. Because as a reminder, we're doing this in the prior year and we've deleted those codes in the current year. So select the funds. Remember, if you've already rolled some of your fund balances, such as auxiliary, tax credit, student activities, you don't want to roll those again. Next, you're going to be prompted with a pop-up box asking for the posting date and if you want a single entry. Fund balances should be rolled over with a 6/30 date of the prior fiscal year. So in this case, we're rolling these into the FY19 year, so we want to roll these with a date of 6/30/2018. The district has the option of creating a single entry, meaning one journal entry, or a separate journal entry for every single fund. Best practice is to select the option of a single entry. The reason for that, if you find that you need to reverse this journal entry, it is much easier to reverse one journal entry than potentially 60 or 70 journal entries. This journal entry, once you click OK, will process, and it'll process into the new year. So your journal entry number will be a new year journal entry number. Now that you've rolled your fund balances, this is an opportunity to check the records and verify that everything came over correctly. So we're going to do this by checking a couple of different items, and I'm going to show you this in an actual fund balance report. First, we're going to compare that our ending cash balance in the prior year, in this case FY 17-18, now matches our beginning fund balance in the new year in 18-19. So that's the first item to check. Now remember, if you posted this with an entry date of anything other than 6/30, you will not see these beginning fund balances on the canned fund balance report. They will still be in your general ledger, but they won't appear on this report. Additionally, cash will only report on the fund balance report if it's recorded in the 0103 code, the cash on hand with the county. Additionally, you will notice that funds that you eliminated will no longer appear in the new year report. So here's an example on the left where you see the old year Fund 117 that we deleted, and you won't see that on the new year report. And as I mentioned, if there are variances, such as here within the M&O fund, verify that that variance is appropriate. In this case, the district has $5,000 recorded in their general ledger as cash on hand in a local bank account for their revolving account. So the ending cash balance is showing at $5,026, where the fund balance is actually $10,026 because that cash is considered cash on hand locally at the bank. Now, if going through this, you identify that there are errors and you need to correct it, it's a simple process. If you created a single entry, all you need to do is go into the current year and reverse the journal entry and go back to old year and rerun the utility. Now, if you've run the utility and you've included funds that you wanted to eventually eliminate, now that there's a transaction record against them, you will not be able to delete them in new year. You'll have to wait until the subsequent fiscal year. So it's important to really make sure that you've gone through and cleaned up and eliminated all of those funds that you want to take off of your fund balance report. This is an opportunity to take your fund balance report from 4, 5, 6 pages down to just 2 to 3 pages. So remember, you can reverse. Remember, there's always the reverse utility if there's a mistake, but we won't be able to delete those codes once they've been entered in. So feel free to reach out if you have any questions as you're going through this rollover utility, but this is an opportunity, remember, to be able to clean up your fund balance report. Thank you.